The difference between now and then with my team of girls is, so I got married before most of my team of girls. Actually, I think I was the first one to get married. Yeah, so before them. So then it's almost breaking up, if you would call it that, from them. Not to spend time with them all the time, because we were almost together all the time. So then getting married, it means then you have to have time to spend time with them and with him. And I think when you get married, you spend time more with your spouse more than with your friends. So it was also a big change for me, because them they continued with the team, with the life that we used to live then, and me, I'm here, I'm married, and I need now to change my life to accommodate him and accommodate the children that came in later. So it's sort of a breakup somehow with them.
I think the transition from living alone to living with a wife, some elements were similar, I think, to what he went through, but I feel like for me, maybe it was slightly easier, right? Because now I am essentially getting, someone who is extremely capable to essentially manage my life, really, right? Because I think at least in the Kenyan or the African tradition, I think the person who runs the house is the wife, right? And that just removes all responsibility from my plate. Say, hey, someone will do this. So in a way, it's actually, to me, it was a welcome change, to be honest. And on three fronts. So number one, I got a proper home with someone who actually takes care of it and make all the decisions, which was very, very easy for me, right? And then second, I think it just made me, I think, a lot more grounded in what I do, in the decision-making process, in who I engage with, the friend that I continue or discontinue, and even having that future perspective in life. Because when you're alone, really it's only you and your little man cave. Once you eat and you're well fed and you have your job, it pretty much ends there. And maybe some family members that you can help. But I think with the family, you're not thinking, okay, this is beyond me, is the future, is what's going to happen in the future. So I think being grounded was a huge advantage, I think, to me, starting living with her. And of course, her taking care of the rest of my life was also a welcome experience as well. So I can't complain at all.
The cultural difference was not an issue for him, because he had lived, in terms of food, because he had lived in Kenya for a while. Yeah, before we met, before we started living together. But every time the family visits, then I feel the need to maybe change a bit into the Tanzanian cuisine, because Tanzanians, they are big on cooking. They would cook breakfast, like a whole buffet of breakfast, daily, lunch, dinner. So it only changes a bit when the family visit. And I think we've done it so many times, it has almost become now part of our family. What we eat, it is not what I used to eat when I was living alone, and it's also not what my family eats at home. So we've established our own cuisine that we work with now. It's a mix of Kenyan and Tanzanian cuisine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, so back, I may just make a small comment on the food part. I know it's probably a bit unfair on the women's side, right? Because if you're coming from living alone, you can just, throw some pastas and noodles in 2 seconds, and you just eat and you're done, basically, right? So a guy can do the same thing when he's living alone. But then when you come together, then the person who bears the most of the cooking responsibility now has to essentially change the entire menu, because now you're feeding not just yourself, you're feeding another person. And then on top of that, if you expect this person who comes from a different culture where they're used to having these big buffets, then it's even an additional pressure on being able to sort of just manage the food aspect of things, right? But I think we're at a point where there's I think she did it pretty well. I mean, we'll give her credit where credit is due. I think you did very well to just ensure that the transition is smooth for both of us, even though you did a lot of work just getting there. I'm sure if it was a Kenyan, it would have been easier to handle.